Right, hog out. We're live. I'm looking forward to today's show. We've got another special guest on. I'm absolutely loving what I'm seeing there. Apparently, he's got some rapid fire questions for me. That's going to put me on the spot. I'm loving it. IPL starting today. CSK versus RCB. We're going to get right into that match just after the bumper. Okay, if you've been following me, you would have just seen some of the predictions that I've got with the squads leading into this IPL. But we'll get straight into it because I just want to go through the squads quickly with CSK before we talk about the big news of MS Dhoni. I better put my glasses on. Just getting a little bit too old. The eyes are going. MS Dhoni, obviously out the top. We've got to change the captain there because he's been shoved out. He's gone on a bit of gardening leave in the captaincy role. And Gaikwad will be captain there. But I just love the balance of this team. They really set their squad up for home conditions. And if you're going to win the IPL, you've got to take that home ground advantage. CSK are brilliant out this. They lost a few games last year, but this year they're going to come back with a vengeance on their home turf and make sure they win a few more games there. If they win 6 of their 7 home games, all of a sudden they only have to win a couple of games going away. And that's an easy task for this team. So for me, they've got balance with overseas big power hitters, some pace bowlers and spin. They're covering all conditions around India. Very balanced squad. There's one player that I really am looking forward to seeing this year, and that's Ravindra. He's going to have an opportunity because Conway has not come over, and he's going to have that chance opening the batting in the first game, I would think, but also with his left arm off spin. The only thing that I have against Ravindra, or should I say his little weakness, is his fielding. He's going to have to lift up his fielding, and that's probably what they'll miss from Conway there. But other than that, they don't miss anything between Conway and Ravindra going. And also Daryl Mitchell down there. I'm really looking forward to seeing what he's got to offer. There's a young player in the list as well. Let me go to my... Rizvi. Looking forward to the 20-year-old, seeing what he's got to offer. Some big money paid for him. And I think the special guest that we've got on will also talk with me about Samir Rizvi. I just love some of the youth that have come through in this year's IPL. Let's get into the RCB squad. RCB, they're always top heavy with their batting. Getting Cameron Green in as an all-rounder, he's going to be batting out 3. That is a huge price that they have paid for an overseas player to fill a spot in the top order again. Where they lack is finishing off their innings. If they lose early wickets, Maxwell's not there at the end. It's all up to Kartik, and Kartik doesn't really have the power. He's got the scoop shots and so forth, but they don't have those big hitters to finish off the bowling. They've got Azeri Joseph there to help with the death compartment of their bowling, but they don't have too many options out the back end. Siraj has to lift in that particular area, and I don't think they have enough frontline spinners to be able to be successful in this year's IPL. I think they're going to finish mid-table again, but it's just poor recruiting and not filling the holes that they have been missing over the last couple of years, as I've mentioned there. And they don't pick the team, or they don't pick a squad that is suited to their conditions out Bangalore. That's another big issue for me with the way that RCB go about it. They're very similar to Mumbai Indians with the ground that they've got. Mumbai Indians are a lot better in the way that they balance their team. So let's go on to the big news. MS Dhoni. He's given up the captaincy. What an absolute legend he has been over the whole campaign of IPL leading up till now. He is captain over 200 games in IPL for the Chennai Super Kings, and he has won around 60% of the games. Over 100 games, no captain has got a better record. There's only one captain that's really pushing MS Dhoni's captaincy prowess, and that's Hardik Pandya, who's moved from Gujarat to Mumbai Indians. He's got a 70% record after a fair amount of matches. But MS Dhoni, he's cool, calm, collect. You only see him lose his emotions every now and then, but he does it deliberately to really lift up his troops. But just his decision-making is exceptional. And I think this is the right move for him to leave the captaincy role out the back end, where he's going to be behind the stumps. They tried it with Jadeja last year to give another player a go at captaincy. It didn't work. Jadeja had too much on his plate with that all-round ability. He had to bowl. He had to be fielding in hot spots, but also his batting. It was just too much on his plate. But Gaikwad, I think, is the perfect choice. He's captained a couple of T20 games for Mumbai. He's also captained India a couple of times. He's shown maturity. His game is at its peak right now. He's getting opportunities to play for India, and he's just matured. And I just think it's a perfect opportunity for a succession plan where Dhoni's behind the stumps, just put his arm around his shoulder and say to young Gaikwad, mate, I love the way that you're thinking here. There's other ways that we can go about it. And what do you think about that? So it's just good that he's got right now to help him with his leadership skills. And the great thing about CSK, and I've been listening to Stephen Fleming a bit, is that they knew that they got it wrong last year with the captaincy, but they prepared better for the changeover, and they think that Gaikwad's the man. So they've had 2 cracks at it. And what this says to me is CSK have been thinking diligently about the succession plan of MS Dhoni, and they've got it right. And this tells me that they are going to continue their prowess in IPL cricket for the next decade. So watch out. Their selection process with their squad, favouring home conditions, but backing it up with certain selections to just help with other venues that provide a little bit of a different game plan, and the way that they have given a couple of opportunities for the captaincy after MS Dhoni leaves. They have been working brilliantly. So CSK, they are going to be awesome. Now let's get the special guest on board, please. AK, Rowan, love from India. We all love you. Thanks very much, Rowan. Thank you so much for that. And thanks for everyone that's following me. Amish Argowell, hey Hog, huge fan. Following you since a long time, but please upload more videos consistently. Gee whiz. Amish, what I'd like to get your feedback. What sort of videos would you like me to upload? Continue with what I've got, or would you like a little bit of difference out there as well? Because I love a little bit of a change up and love to be challenged. I see Artel Baral is back again. Artel, thanks very much for that. Taweed Tamzed, Brad Hogg, you're a legendary spin bowler and fantastic smiling man. I just love the game of cricket, and I love it that there are so many fans around the world that love the game, but also in the subcontinent, especially India. It's such a huge population over there in India. If it wasn't for that population, the game wouldn't be as big as it is now. And we're very lucky that we reap the rewards here in Australia with the following that we get from over there in India. While we're getting our special guest up, AK, if we can get him on board now, I just want to quickly mention there's a Sheffield Shield game going on over here in Perth. It's a Shield final. Matthew Wade is missing the first game of the IPL because of the Shield final. Mitchell Marsh should be playing for West Australia, but he's gone over to play for the Delhi Capitals in their first game tomorrow night. So he's missing it. But there's a young player here, Cooper Connolly. a left-handed batsman who's played for the Perth Scorchers. He made a brilliant contribution a couple of years ago where he hit some big sixes under pressure to get the Perth Scorchers over the line in the final over. But he's only making 100 today in the Shield final under pressure. Watch out for him because he'll be picked up in the IPL in the next year or two. We've got young Fraser McGurk over there that people might not know too much about him. He's a big hitter. He's playing for the Delhi Capitals, but watch out for Cooper Connolly. That's the name from Australia that I want you to remember. Now, who we got on here? Anupal, how are you going?
Yes, sir. I'm good. How are you, sir?
Anupam, sorry, should I say? Sorry. I'm going very well, mate. Very well. Thank you very much for joining me. Now, you're from the Mumbai area?
Yes, sir.
And you go for who?
Chennai Super Kings.
Oh my God! I can't believe that you do. I can't believe that you're doing that. Do you get a lot of flack? That means, do you get a lot of teasing from your friends?
Not really, because there are a lot of CSK fans in Mumbai also, just like the MI fans. So enjoy that rivalry between the MI CSK fans.
Oh, that's good. So it's not so much Chennai Super Kings fans travelling from Chennai on a train to get to Wankhede when they're playing there, because there's a lot of CSK fans in yellow already in Mumbai. That's brilliant. I didn't know that.
Yes, sir. It is. That's what
Well, how do
CSK
you feel?
is.
Yeah, I hope you don't. I hope you don't work out Reliance then with the Ambanis.
I'm just a student right now, so it's too early for me.
Rightio. No, we got to be careful with all of that stuff. Rightio. Now you've got some questions for me. Let's get into that, and then while we talk, I'll try and get a question from the panel as well. We've got some comments on the side, which you and I will answer out the together as well. So let's get your questions first, mate.
So it's a general rapid fire regarding the prediction, basically. So who will be the
Rapid fire.
leading runs? Who will be the leading run scorer this season for you?
I'm hoping Venkatesh Iyer turns things around for Kolkata Knight Riders. He's had a dismal couple of years, and for KKR to really have success this year, he needs to lift. He's one. I think Prithvi Shaw needs to turn things around as well. But I think Gaikwad from the Chennai Super Kings is going to be the leading run scorer because he's taken over the captaincy. He looks happy to do that. And MS Dhoni is going to help him out. So Gaikwad from CSK, since you're a CSK fan as well.
So shall I move to the next?
We've got a bit of a delay in the old rapid fire there. Go for it.
So which team will surprise everyone and make the playoffs?
Which team will surprise everyone and make the playoffs this year? I'm thinking Rajasthan Royals.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm thinking the Rajasthan Royals. I think they've got good balance in their team. Just looking at it right now, I think they've recruited well. I think the reason why I think they're going to do well is because they've got a very consistent top three, but then they can have the big hitters of Hetmeyer and Power coming in those middle overs, and that will take pressure off Parag out the back end. And they've got two quality spinners in Chahal and Ashwin. If you've got two quality spinners in your lineup that can control the middle overs, but also bowl some of the power play overs, I think you're going to do well. And they've got Trent Bolt there to open the bowling, pick up early wickets. So I think Rajasthan Royals, another team that really have success on their home turf, I think they'll be a surprise package this year.
So on to the next. We have seen a lot of youngsters every time in the IPL. So which youngster to watch out for in this IPL?
We talked about that one from Riz. What did I say? From Chennai Super Kings. Yeah, Rizvi, yes. And there's someone from Mumbai Indians. I'm just checking my quick list here. I think, Delhi Capitals had him, didn't they? Kumar Kushagara. I've
Kumar
had a
Kushagra.
look at some. Yeah. I've had a look at him and some of his highlights. I think he is going to be the bee's knees. And there's a fast bowler around. I tell you what, there's so many teams going around, but Harshit Rana from KKR, fast bowler there. Watch out for him. I think he's got an excellent Yorker. I don't mind his bouncer as well, and I think he's got a bit of pace and bounce. So I think he'll be a player to watch out for. So those three. Yep.
So on to the next. Who will be the highest wicket taker this season?
Highest wicket taker this season. I think it will have to be an opening bowler. I think Siraj. If RCB are going to have a big play this year, Siraj has to do the job. I think he had a tough time of it down here in the T20 World Cup a couple of years ago. I think he's turning things around now. Siraj. Watch out for Siraj.
So okay. So this is something different. So which team may surprise us and show a poor season to us?
Which one will have a disappointing showing this year? I think it'll be the Gujarat Titans. No Shami, no Hardik Pandya. Hardik Pandya wasn't a big loss until Shami withdrew. So for me, it's going to be the Gujarat Titans. They're going to go, ooh, and slide down the table very quickly.
So will a franchise will break the all-time high score record? Do you see that happening this time?
What is the highest record at the moment? What is it? 230.
I think it was by RCB. I think in 2016 it happened.
Yeah. I think the Rajasthan Royals batting lineup have a big chance of breaking that record this year because they've got the big hitters of Hetmeyer and Powell to come in that middle order, as well as Parag, following a top three. So I reckon the Rajasthan Royals. I'm giving a big rap to one of my old teams, aren't I? The Rajasthan Royals. So I think they'll have a chance of doing it. Yeah. I don't think CSK definitely don't have the batting power to do it. What CSK do is they have real good balance in defence with their bowling, but also a good strategy with their batting as well. They have a game plan that suits their whole squad, their whole team, whereas other teams either have to bash the house down with their batting or they have to bowl exceptionally well to win the IPL. So I think Mumbai Indians and CSK and maybe Delhi Capitals have the best balanced team for me.
All right. So next is most sixes hit by a single player this season. Who can be this season?
Most sixes. I think it's going to be Hetmeyer from Rajasthan Royals.
Let's hope.
Yeah, that's hope, because for the Rajasthan Royals to have success, that powerhouse really needs to fire, and if they're firing, either Powell or Hetmeyer are hitting a lot of sixes. So Hetmeyer from Rajasthan Royals. I could have easily gone for Glenn Maxwell on a short boundary there at RCB, but that's too easier option. So Hetmeyer, I just want to have a bit of a dark horse there.
So let's see.
Actually,
what
your guy down in Chennai Super Kings, Dubai, Shivam Dubai.
Shivam Dubey.
Yeah, Dubai. Gee, I got to get that right. Sorry, had a bit of a tongue twist there. Dubai. I reckon he's got a bit of a chance as well. I think he had a great season last year, a bit of a breakout season. I think he's matured, and I think he can have a bit of a breakaway there too. So watch out for him. He'll be a surprise package.
So let's see what you answer this time. Who
Yep.
do you think will win the IPL 2024?
I think it'll be between Mumbai Indians and CSK. I think both of those teams are very well balanced. Mumbai Indians getting Hardik Pandya back in their squad They lacked an all-rounder last year, or a proper all-rounder. Cameron Green is a good all-rounder, but he doesn't bowl the overs that Hardik Pandya can bowl, and you need that Indian contingent. So it's between those teams, and I think CSK are going to win two in a row. I think
Okay,
MS
so
Dhoni is playing his last season. It hasn't been stated, but I think they'll finish with CSK winning this year, two in a row.
let's hope so.
For you. But I think Rajasthan Royals are a team that will have a chance of winning their second title, and Delhi Capitals, I think, are a dark horse as well. I'm not really confident with the other teams.
All right.
Yep. Any more quick fire questions?
No, sir. That's all for the rapid fire.
Yep. All right. Now you've got some other questions there, and I'm looking at Busters there. He's gone RCB. RCB have a big chance, but again, I just don't think they've covered their weaknesses when they had a chance to. Hirin there, I disagree. I like it that you disagree. Who do and what do you disagree about? And Harin there, Yuzi Chahal. I think he could have a big year too. He could be the leading wicket taker as well. Hirin, that's not a bad call. Anyway, all right, let's get into the other questions that you've got for me, where we've got a bit of a longer answer. Surav Solanki, thanks very much for your love over there as well. So what's the other questions that you've got there lined up for me today, mate?
So the other questions which I would like to ask, I used to ask in the comments. Now I'm
Yep.
live, so
Yep.
I will go. So
Yep.
IPL introduced the two bouncers rule this time. So which bowler can make the best use of that rule for you?
It'll be all the Australian bowlers, but basically someone like a Mitchell Stark, young, or both Josephs from the West Indies that are over here now, because they've got a bit of extra pace. I think those three particular bowlers can really utilise it. Boomer can utilise it. Siraj as well. And I think the players that are going to be most affected by that would be someone like a Glenn Maxwell, who's looking for that one bouncer per over. Now that you've got two bouncers up your sleeve, he can't sit back and think, right, it's going to be around the chest area now. It's not going to be around the head area. So they're the players that are really going to have the biggest effect with it. Also, that comes into RCB's favour a little bit as well. So if you're going to utilise Cameron Green as an all-rounder with his pace, especially there at Bangalore, he can utilise that short pitch bowling quite effectively as well, and that will bring him back into the game as a more of a frontline option as well, because he's quite sharp as well. When he gets that extra height, anything short from him will be quite quick. So watch out for the use of Cameron Green with the use of the two bouncers. It's a good rule. What do you think of that rule?
It's a brilliant rule. I think as a bowlers, I've been bowling lot, so I understand what it means to bowl bouncers. So I think it's a potent weapon for a fast bowler, and introducing two will always keep the batter on the back foot slightly a bit. So
Yep.
it's a great rule. And I've seen in the Syed Mushtaq Ali it was introduced, and Arshdeep Singh was very good with that short balls. He got a couple of wickets with that. So I think for me, I think he's one bowler to watch out for with that two bouncers rule.
Yep, I think that it sort of helps Sunrisers Hyderabad as well with Malik, because Malik has got sheer pace. He might be the quickest bowler in the IPL this year, but with that short ball, now that he can bowl two, people won't or batsmen won't be as comfortable against him now. Because once he's bowled the one bouncer, all of a sudden right, he's got to be a little bit fuller. I can sit back and it's going to be in my hitting arc. So now it sort of brings him into the game where batsmen are going to go, right, when's he going to bowl the second one? Or when's he going to bowl the first one first up? But I think it adds more strategy to fast bowlers, helps them out, and I think it's a great thing. And it should be in all short forms of the game. You should be able to bowl 2 bounces and over. It's just it's way too easy for the batsman once that first bounce is gone, especially on the flatter wickets. You've got to give the bowlers something, and well done to the IPL for that. Yes, great question that.
So should it be introduced in the World Cups as well? I think
Oh,
international
definitely.
cricket.
Yeah, definitely. That's one thing that I've always felt with the short form of the game, that 2 bounces should be brought in straight away, because otherwise batsmen aren't getting tested. You look out the great Vivian Richards. There's a clip of Sir Vivian Richards facing Devon Malcolm from England. Devon Malcolm bowling extreme pace. And when I'm talking about extreme pace, he's one of the quickest bowlers that was around at that time and probably the world has ever seen. I think he bowled 6 bounces in a row to Vivian Richards. Vivian Richards is wearing a cap and chewing the bubble gum. Do you remember Viv Richards chewing bubble gum? If you've seen highlights.
Yes.
Yep. He's trying to take the pull shot on. There's a couple that have just missed the ear roll, gone through to the keeper. There's a couple where he's connected, but it was just the most exciting over I've ever seen in Test cricket. It was sheer courage against genuine pace. And I just think the batsmen need to be tested more, especially while they've got the helmets on as well, to play that pull shot in T20 cricket. Because we want
to face without helmets to Viv Richards.
Well, I remember when I first played, we didn't have helmets. They didn't come into I was about 10, or they might have just started with Tony Gregg with that bicycle helmet that you've got. You know how the motorbike helmet. But I remember we used to have a glass frame around the front and a perplex type thing, and if you didn't quite get the gap right, there was a distortion in looking through. So I never wore that. I wore the templates and the small templates, and I felt it was good because you had to watch the ball. And when you're playing the pull shot, you actually had to get inside the ball, so the ball's passing you right here. But me being a left-handed batsman, so you'd have to get it so the ball's going here. If you didn't, all of a sudden your nose is in jeopardy. And I think now with the helmets, people play the pull shot with their eyes in line with the ball, and they don't know how to play it effectively to protect their body. And that's why we see a lot of concussion right now, because they don't get inside the line of that short ball where they can help it behind square. I like it. Mm.
So
what's your next question?
Yeah. So next question it's regarding another your former team. So you
Yep.
have spent a lot of time with GG, played under GG.
Yep.
So how do you see KKR go this time around with GG back at KKR?
I think it's great that they've got someone who has done so much for that franchise coming back and playing in a leadership role. Playing the mentor role is fantastic. You can help young players, but I don't think it makes too much of an impact when the game is actually going on, because you can't go out there and bat for a player. You can't go out there and bowl for a player. But I think he can help with the captaincy there, make the captain be a little bit more aggressive. And what I liked about Gautam Gambhir as a captain, he took risks at certain times of a game when we're in the field. So if we needed a wicket, he would put someone around the bat, even though we're slightly behind the game. Or if we were in front of the game and we've just got a wicket, he would bring someone and put them around the bat. So he would be always forward thinking. He'd be trying to make the change of momentum in the game into KKR's favour. He wasn't standing still. He wasn't defensive as such. That's what I liked about him. And I think that's something that KKR can bring to the fore this year with young Rana, Hitesh Ranish, the fast bowler. alongside Mitchell Starc. I think that's going to be a great combination. And when you've got an attacking bowler like Mitchell Starc, you can afford to be a little bit more aggressive. So I think Gautam Gambhir is going to bring that aggression when it comes to the bowling front, but he's also going to I think the big thing for them, the big plus with Gautam Gambhir, is Venkatesh Iyer, who I said hopefully he'll be the leading run scorer this year for KKR. I think that's a big plus. His mentorship with Venkatesh Iyer will be the main impact that he'll have down there, as well as the captaincy. I think one thing with Venkatesh Iyer, and I don't say this, rudely. I say this with respect, because it's so hard when you're a young player. You come in and all of a sudden you do well, you get that attention. Then he's playing for India, and then all of a sudden the world falls apart in a sense where he's not making those runs. He's got huge expectation because he's been bought by the Kolkata Knight Riders as an important player in that mega auction. So he was the one that they one of four that they kept. So that's a lot of pressure on him. And I think he hasn't been able to handle that pressure over the last couple of years. So with Gautam Gambhir there, I think that mentorship will be able to help him get over those demons. And I think, if you look at some of the great Australian sports stars over the last year, there's a tennis player called Ash Barty, and she's retired. But the big thing with her is she compartmentalized different aspects of her life and what was the true meaning for her. I think Venkatesh Iyer at the moment could do with a little bit of work of what Ash Barty did, is compartmentalise the different aspects of his life. And when it comes to cricket and his performances, don't worry about what the rest of the world thinks. Just worry about what makes Venkatesh Iyer tick. What makes Venkatesh Iyer play his best cricket? What was he doing back in the day when he was doing well? Was he going down there? Was he overthinking it, or was he doing this? What has changed to take him away from what was successful when he first came in? I think that's where Gautam Gambhir will really work. I probably ramped on a little bit too much with that answer, but I hope you get an understanding what I'm trying to say. It's a bit like you with your studies. If you overthink it and you think, right, well, I'm worried about the result rather than the process, all of a sudden, all the anxiety comes in. But if you've got the right process of the way that you're going to do your exam or the way that you're going to do the assignment, if you've got the process in play, the results will look after itself. And I think Venkatesh Iyer has been in that place where, I've got to get 100, I've got to get a 50 because I've been paid the big bucks, rather than just going, right, well, this is the way that I go about my innings. This is the way I go about it in my preparation. I think he's got to go back and get the process right and not worry about the end result. What do you think about that?
Absolutely right. And study is a great example.
Well, you worry, isn't it? Because there's so much, and we'll just quickly talk about that with your life. There's so much on the line with it, isn't it? Because there's a temptation to put pressure on yourself that I've got to get the best mark to get the best job. And if you keep thinking like that, you're not thinking about what you've got to do right now. And it's that's the thing. That's why you always worry about process and control what you can control rather than the end result, because there's so much in this world that you can't control. You can only control what you can control, and that's been in the present right now.
Thank you for that. Good learning lesson for me. So let's go to the next question. I think you answered that. So which team will struggle to find the best starting 11 in this IPL?
Look, I think Gujarat Titans. I'm just looking at my notes over here. I've got them in a good space there. I think where they're going to struggle is they've invested on Spencer Johnson from Australia. Now, Spencer Johnson is very much like Mitchell Johnson, but he's only young, tear away quick, hasn't got much experience. I think the pressure might get to him now without having Shami there. They've got Umesh Yadav down there in the bowling department as well. Umesh, fantastic bowler, fantastic teammate. But I just think he hasn't been at his best over the last couple of years. So for me, I think Gujarat Titans just don't have the bowling depth that they need. And I think Shah Rukh Khan coming in that middle order, I think he'll be the one that has that first crack in the middle order, replacing Hardik Pandya. I just don't think he's got the credentials or the numbers behind him to be able to say that Gujarat Titans are confident that they've got a powerhouse middle order hitter to cover in that space. Would you agree?
I think so because of the players they lost. Those are big players. Hardik Pandya is a big void to fill, and I think this is the side who will depend a lot on that impact sub to cover that void in some way or the other. Although it's difficult, and Shami is a big loss. Shami, we all know how great a bowler he is, so it will be a big task for them to fill that void again. And Spencer Johnson, I think he come off a great big bash. But we have seen this that a great Big Bash season doesn't translate always to a great IPL season. So, and with that 10 crore price tag, so pressure will be on him to deliver.
Exactly right. I think they went too hard and too big on something that they were hoping to cover. So that's the thing with the IPL auction. You can get a little bit of momentum on someone who's been talked about a lot. And I think sometimes when it comes to overseas players, especially Australian players, there's a little bit overexcitement with the talent that we've got here. Yes, if you're going to invest in someone like a Spencer Johnson, it's a long-term or it's a 3-year deal, not just a one-off scenario. So I think the Gujarat Titans, we've got a mega auction next year, haven't we?
I think the rumors are coming that there might be a mega auction next year.
Yeah. So if we've got a mega auction next year, I think you should have a 4-year window where you can have the opportunity of keeping the same squad, not every 3 years. I think that's something that we can add to the IPL. But when you do that, I even think a 5-year period, because you can actually invest in some young players and lead into a area where you create a squad, where you build a culture. You might not have success in the first or second year, but you might have a run of 3 years. So you're able to build up to a potential 3-year period where you can really dominate the IPL. And I think that would just change the dynamic a little bit too, if we can change that auction process around. What do you think about that?
I think it needs to be changed, the auction process. And another thing which I saw is that Mitchell Stark, Pat Cummins, they got big deals, 20 crore plus deals, I think. And a player like a Jasprit Bumrah, he must be feeling, I don't think he must be feeling, but he must be feeling I am playing every season and I'm playing at some 12 crores for Mumbai Indians. So I think I feel that it's an injustice to those players who consistently deliver for their franchise.
Well, exactly right, but that's why you have the process in place when you go to the mega auction too. I agree with you, but when it comes to the mega auction, the owners have the ability to keep 4 players, and Jasprit Bumrah agreed on terms to stay at the Mumbai Indians. I think that's great loyalty, and then you're guaranteed to stay there, because now that Bumrah has created that loyalty with the Mumbai Indians, there's plenty of opportunities for him after cricket as well with that particular franchise. So that you can look at it both ways: the longevity of your life, what you've got to do after cricket, or make a quick buck now. But the other thing too is, on your point there, where it's unfair to Bumrah, when I brought up the Mitchell Marsh scenario, and this is nothing against Mitchell Marsh as such, but we've got the Sheffield Shield final here in Western Australia. Mitchell Marsh is over there playing in the IPL. Australia has bought him up from grassroots cricket. Australia pay him a good contract here, and he's not playing in a Shield final here as well. So it's a little bit of unfair to those players who are coming through the system over here as well, not being able to leave. Some are able to leave for the first game of IPL, others aren't. So there's a little bit of disrespect there as such with the system on the flip side of it. But when it comes down to it, I think there's a short window of opportunity for players to make the money. And someone like a Mitchell Starc, I believe that he earns that money. He picks wickets up in the power play. He's a very good death bowler. And if you can get someone who can bowl 4 or 2 overs in those particular parts of the game, you pay big money for them because they're hard to come by. But he's got to deliver. But the thing I like about Mitchell Starc, he pulled out a couple of IPLs. He didn't, but he put Australian cricket first. But he pulled out fairly early. I don't think he's ever pulled out on the last minute unless it was an injury. But I think someone like a Mitchell Starc now, if he plays less international cricket and more IPL cricket, I think he deserves it with the longevity that he's had with our country. I think he deserves to be able to go out there and pick up that big money. But it's a great question. I'm glad you brought up Jasprit Bumrah. But then you look at Hardik Pandya as well. So if you look at the Mumbai Indians, they took a risk on both Pandya boys, and they would have loved to have kept both Pandya boys. So, and it's a bit like the Rajasthan Royals as well. They invest in a lot of youngsters, but sometimes other teams get the benefit of that investment that they've put in those youngsters because all of a sudden the talent's been found out. So that's probably another thing with the IPL auction. Instead of just 4 players, you're able to keep 6 players. Then you can keep the core of your crop. And then it gives you the ability to go, right, well, I'm going to invest in this young player for the long term. And if that player comes off, then you've got the right to keep him because at the end of the day, it's an investment into future Indian cricketers for the international game as well. And if franchises are willing to put their I was going to say something there that probably won't be too good to come around India. But if franchises are going to put their gonads on the line for a player, they should be able to reap the rewards down the back end. Yeah, good question, that. All right. Next question there, young fella.
So next question, I think you said a bit about that in the last question. We have seen players pulling out a lot of times in the IPL. Adam Zampa yesterday pulled out. We have seen Jason Roy pulled out. And even in the past also, many players have pulled out. Jason Roy has a great history of pullouts. So what are your thoughts on it? And do you have any solutions how to tackle it so that franchises, they don't get impacted really hard?
Well, those players who have a strong history of pulling out, don't pick them. That's number one. But I think you've got to
with English players.
Yeah, I think you've got to do your research as well with particular players. So if you're going to go into the auction, if I was a coach of a IPL franchise and I'm going into the auction and we've got a list of players that we're interested in, I'd be asking someone like a Mitchell Starc, okay, we want to invest in you. Which tournaments or which years are you going to be available? Aren't you going to be available? And if he says that I'll be able to be available for 2 out of 3, but I don't want to play this one because of the workload that I've got on the international scene, then as a coach, I'm sitting there going, right, we've got him for 2 years. If we pick him in the auction now and we get him for a decent price. I already know that. So with him being there for 2 years, we've got a chance of really winning the title with him in the team. If I don't, but if he's not there for the other year, what other talents around that I can get to cover him, just to give myself half a chance of winning that title. So you're putting your eggs in your squad so that you balance your team up so that 2 or the 3 years you're giving yourself the best opportunity to win a title. The other year you might take a sacrifice or two, where those players might take the day off. So that's another solution for me as a franchise, how I would tackle it, making sure that I interview the players that I potentially want just to see where they're going, and be honest with them up front. Like I think there's a chance that you're going to pull out 2 years of the 3, I'm not going to be bothering with you. I want you here for the 3 years, but if you tell me that you're going to be here for 2, I'll pick you. But tell me which year that you're not going to take. So I'll try and have a little bit of trust there with the players as well in that particular scenario. But you've also got to look at personal reasons as well. For someone like an Adam Zampa, I don't know what exactly is going on behind the scenes. I don't know what's going on for Jason Roy. David Willey's not going over there at the start for personal reasons. Anything could be happening behind the scenes. And I think when you travel a lot and you're not home as much as the cricketers are, I think sometimes sometimes the family dynamic gets affected as well. And if you've got that those family issues, you want to make sure you get them sorted out, because there's no point in having an upset family back home while you're away trying to play cricket, because it's going to affect your performances. So I think sometimes it's good to pull out when you've got the big issues that are going to affect you moving forward. Someone like an Adam Zampa for the Rajasthan Royals is not going to be a big loss. How many games is he going to play? 1 or 2, because you've got Shahar and Ashwin there to do the spinning jobs. Yeah, you've even got Parag there to bowl a few right arm form finders, if you can call them right arm off spin. You understand what I say with form finders, don't you? So Ashwin's not a big loss. David Willey, he's not such a big loss because they've got Myers to sort of fill in for him with the all-round ability. But Myers is probably a better bat than bowler, whereas Willie's probably a better bowler than bat. So, and Jason Roy, I reckon Jason Roy leaving, I reckon KKR are going to be happy having Salt come in. I think Salt's a better batter than Jason Roy. I think he offers more for the team, and I like his strike rate against pace and spin. It's a good strike rate. So, yeah, so sometimes it's going to affect the franchise, other times it's not. Jesus, a long-winded answer, that one, wasn't it?
With Adam Zampa not there, I think you can plead your case to go back to Rajasthan with Impact Sub.
Impact Sub. Yeah, that would be the Impact Sub for the opposition team. Get that old fossil in there. Get that old fossil if they can pick him.
I remember Amit Mishra said somewhere that Impact Sub is the best thing Indian cricket introduced. With that, he will play for more 4 years.
I wish, but that's exactly right. I really love the impact player because, well, firstly, I'm going to ask you, why do you think the impact player is so good for the game, and do you think it should be introduced in World Cups as well?
I think in World Cup is currently too early to be introduced. I think we can test it more in the local tournaments in IPL. So with the impact player, the best thing is that we are able to play an extra batter and bowler, which creates a massive difference in the team, especially teams like Rajasthan or Team India, which doesn't have many all-rounders. That can make a big difference. We have seen a lot of 200 plus scores last IPL. It may happen this time also. Let's see how the bowlers go this time with that rule. But the other side is that the all-rounders role gets a bit less. We see Cameron Green's role gets lower, Shivam Dubey's role gets lower. So that's a flip side to it. And I think Wasim Jaffer, I think he said that it should be removed. So there are people who are against it. So I think it should be tested a more right now, and then we can see whether it should be introduced in internationals or not.
Yep. I totally agree with you. I think one thing with the impact player, I think we could just have two options as the impact player. You've got one bowler, one batter. And the reason why I say two is because you pick the bowler. So you've only got an opportunity to have one spare bowler. You can't have two bowlers where you've got a spinner and a fast bowler as the options. So it gives you, or it adds another dynamic where the team actually still has to read the wicket to a certain effect to make sure they get the right impact players in play. And the other thing with it as well, I think with the all-rounders, I think if you've lost a few wickets and then you've got to play the batting option, that's where the all-rounders come into play, and it puts extra pressure on the all-rounders because all of a sudden they haven't been bowling as many overs as they probably would if they just had a normal 11, but now they're put under the pump. How can they stand up with that slight little bit of extra pressure with the ball? I know I'll be at the top of a mark like this if I hadn't had enough overs under my belt. So there's positives and negatives, and I agree with every point that you brought up there too. It's just, and that's the great thing about the dynamic. But I'd love to see that international level now, but only limit it to the potential of two impact players coming on, able to come on. I just think it just adds a different dynamic to the game. It allows batsmen to be more aggressive, and with a two bouncer rule in the IPL, have that in the international game as well. You're giving the bowlers a little bit more, or especially the fast bowlers, a little bit more room to manoeuvre where they can be a little bit more strategic. Yeah, that's a great question. Have you got any more?
Yes, I do have.
Oh.
So which player you thought would have been picked in the auction but he hasn't been picked? Any surprise in that?
No, there was no. I don't think I've seen any surprise. Oh, yes. Yes. Sarfraz Khan. I'm very surprised that he missed out, but I'm glad he's missed out in a sense, because he might be able to get picked up as a replacement player during the IPL. But for me, it's a bit of a wake-up call for him. As such, he's making a mountain of runs in first-class cricket. And the thing that I like about it is that he didn't get picked up in the auction, but he performed well in the Test arena when he came in. And I just love his attitude. I love his energy. So I think it's a surprise that he didn't get picked up, but I think it's a very, very good thing for him and his development. And I think he can get picked up with a replacement player here at the back end. You've got a mega auction next year, and he'll be coming out to try and prove a point if he gets an opportunity this year as a replacement player. So watch out for that space. That's a good question, that one. You've really made me think about that. Yeah.
Actually, I had a few surprises. I think Keshav Maharaj I thought was a big surprise. Some surprise if he was in the auction, because
Yep.
there are Mumbai and RCB. These two teams, they lack quality spinners, and I think these two would have gone for him. Someone like a Maharaj who was brilliant in the World Cup. I know it's 50 overs, but he was brilliant.
Yeah, but I see Mumbai Indians. If Chawla didn't do that well last year, they would be in trouble. But they've also got Karthikeya there. Karthikeya, I think, is someone special, and I think he might have a very good year as well, playing as an impact player down at Mumbai Indians. RCB, they don't have any quality spinners in there, and they lack. But the thing is, when you're looking at overseas players, and I'll try and put a coach's hat on here, I'd try and avoid getting overseas spinners unless it's a Shane Warne or a Muralitharan. You've got to be a genuine wicket taker for me to be able to pick you in an IPL. I'd be looking at spin options that are Indian spin options, and I'll be looking at extra pace with my overseas options and big hitters, because there's a few teams there that don't have that big hitting impact, and you need overseas big hitters, and that's how I'd try and balance my team. Quality Indian bowlers or spinners, quality Indian batters, surrounded by a big one or two big hitters from overseas, and my spin contingent made up or help with two overseas genuine quicks that either can swing the ball like a Mitchell Starc or a Trent Bolt, or bowl sheer pace, or someone like a Courtsy who really gets into your face. So that's how I'd sum it up. Yeah, but Maharaj, I think, yeah, he could be playing. He could have played a bit of a role too. But then you look at Hasaranga. RCB had Hasaranga, but they couldn't get the balance right to have him in the team. So that's, and he adds a little bit of batting depth as well. So that's where RCB really have their problems. They invest too heavily in their top order batters.
I feel it's a bit of a England kind of a strategy because Mo Bawat has come from England. Andy Flower has been with the English system. I think it's a bit of a England strategy that we are a great batting powerhouse. We will smash the opposition, especially at Chinnaswamy. And we have some gun fast bowlers. I don't know what they will do, but let's hope.
Let's hope. I think you look at RCB. I discussed the death bowling there. They don't really have that death bowling, and they don't have the power hitting. But you look at their record out Cheswami Stadium. I think I've just got it here. They have a 48% record of winning out home. That's not good enough. That's not good enough if you're going to be a powerhouse. And that's one of the reasons why they haven't got a title under their belt, is because they don't know how to play their home ground. You've got to have that home ground advantage, and they don't have that.
And with the WPL victory, I think they will feel some pressure of winning the IPL. I feel that.
Oh, well, ladies first then. They've still got the old ways of respect. I don't know. Do you open the door for your girlfriend?
Currently, I don't have any. I'm not interested that much.
Oh, that's good. Don't be interested until you're about 30. But you know, it's one of those things. The RCB have opened the door for the ladies first. So no, that's it's a nice aspect there. So, but hopefully RCB can turn it around. You know, Virat Kohli, I'd love him to have a little bit of success in IPL as well. Have a trophy under his cabinet, but sometimes it just doesn't happen. And it's out of Virat Kohli's control. He's not the captain, and he doesn't really have much of a say. I would have thought in the selection process as well. So they've got to get that right. Yeah. Have you got another question? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Why not? Let's have this opportunity.
Yep.
So we have a T20 World Cup coming just after the IPL. Who are the Indians and the Australian players you will be keeping an eye on in this IPL?
Travis Head for Australia and Mitchell Marsh. Definitely got to watch those two, because if you're going over to the West Indies for the next T20 World Cup, I don't think it's. I think it's still similar conditions to what we get in India. You don't have those bouncier tracks over in the West Indies that we used to have. I'll be looking at Pat Cummins as well, how he operates in the 2020 circuit over there. On the Indian front, it'll be more up in the top order there. Gaikwad, I want to see how he goes. One with captaincy, but also with the way he goes out the top of the order. And Hardik Pandya with his all-round ability. I think Hardik Pandya has got to be fit for India to win that T20 World Cup, because you need that all-rounder in the middle overs. And I think if you've got Hardik Pandya and Jadeja as your two all-rounders, you really can have good batting depth, but also good bowling options as well. So you can have four frontline bowlers with those two bowling the next four overs, but you can also bat down to number 8. So I think they're the players that I'll be looking at.
Absolutely.
Mm.
So let's go to the next question. I think if you are Gigi, you are going to smash me this time.
Yeah.
Which new captain do you feel can have a bigger impact this IPL? The captains were appointed right now.
Um, I think Hardik Pandya can have a big impact, but in a negative way at Mumbai, because if things don't go right early, everyone's going to get on the Rohit Sharma bandwagon and say, "Well, why isn't Rohit captain? Why is Hardik Pandya captain?" I think that's probably the big issue for Mumbai Indians. I think Gaikwad, I think he could have the biggest impact there, because he's under MS Dhoni there. They tried Jadeja last year; it didn't work. So there'll be that little bit of pressure there. But I think Gaikwad will be the one who stands out. I think Gill at Gujarat Titans, he's going to have a big weight on his shoulders, because he hasn't got Shami there, his main strike bowler. There's a lot of wickets that are lost there. All of a sudden, he's going to have to be thinking quickly on his feet, out in the middle, under pressure, and I think he's going to have a hard time of it. So for me, Gaikwad's going to have the biggest positive impact of any team this year out of the young IPL captains. What do you think? And I'm not
I
saying that
think
because you're a CSK fan either.
I feel Hardik Pandya can have a really great impact because he has that captaincy experience with him. He has won a title and almost a he took two balls away from a victory last time, and he
Yeah.
has captained India as well. So I think he has that captaincy material in him. He can do that. The only challenge will be to lead the team off the field, leading the big senior players, Rohit Sharma, Jasprit Bumrah, Suryakumar Yadav. Those players, I think he have to handle that, because in Gujarat, he was a lone star, I would say.
Yep.
Somewhat a lone star, but here is one of the many stars. So I think that will the big difference this time in Mumbai Indians. But I feel that he can do that really well, because I feel he has that thing in him.
Mm. Yep. I totally agree with you. And while we're on that with the captains there, Atal Baral, I don't know whether he's still with us, because he joined us at 11:05 a.m. this morning, Australian Standard Time. How tough is it going to be for Gaikwad as captain to fill the shoes of legendary captain MS Dhoni? Look, I think he's going to have a lot of support. I think they would have been talking to him a lot over the last month or two to warn him that this could be happening. I think he's had good preparation with some of the roles that he's had with in Mumbai as well as India A. And I think he has a great relationship with MS Dhoni, and I think they've learned from last year. And I think this transition is going to be absolutely spot on. I think Gaikwad will lead the team and lead them in a final this year. What are your thoughts, young
I
man?
think it won't. I don't think it would be the same case of 22, because the other thing is that 22 auction they all came after a mega auction, so there were a lot of new players. The roles were to be defined, but this time Shivam Dubey knows what his role is. Ajinkya Rahane knows what his role is. So the roles are defined. They have done it last year, so that's one thing which the Gaikwad has to just manage only. It doesn't have to do something very different. And the other thing is, yes, as you said, he has that captaincy experience. I don't know, his IPL is a different thing altogether, but he has that captaincy experience. And with MS Dhoni around, with other senior players around, Ajinkya Rahane, Moin Ali, Darren Mitchell, all those players, I think he can be a better captain than now.
Yep. I totally agree with you. Now we're going to finish up now, but while we just as we finish up, I'll just quickly go through the RCB team that you guys will be playing. But we won't talk about the RCB team because you're going to beat them on your home turf. But
I have my
Duplessis,
friends to be slashed. I am
Duplessis,
ready for it.
Coley, Duplessis, Coley, obviously opening the batting. Green out 3, Maxwell, Patadar, Kartik, Lomraw, Khan Sharma, Dale, Joseph, that's Alzari Joseph, and Siraj are the 11. And I've got Akash Deep as the impact player, thinking that RCB are batting first with that 11. But if RCB bowl first, Akash Deep will come in for Patidar, and Patidar will be the impact player. Again, I don't think they don't have enough options out the back end there with the batting. And Joseph is probably the best with depth bowling. Siraj really needs to step up in the depth bowling department. Now we're going to go through CSK because there's a few headaches here for the first game. Paddy Rana isn't playing. I think the Bangladesh left arm pacer will replace him, Mustafiza Rahmat. So, but your batting order will be Garkward, Ravindra, Dubey, Rizvi, Mitchell, Jadeja, Dhoni, Ali, Thakur, Chahar, Rahman, and I've got Ajinkya Rahane as the impact player here. If you bat first, where would you bat Ajinkya Rahane in that lineup?
I think he will be play some either 3 or 4 depending on the situation. If early wickets fell in within the power play, I think he will come at 3. If the team is going well, they do well in the power play, then they may send Shivam Dubey and they keep Ajinkya Rane at 4 or 5 for the later half. I think it's nothing different will be, so I don't see a major change with Ajinkya Rahane's role.
Right. And Rizvi, young player, what do you think his role will be in this team?
I think he will be playing a kind of a finisher kind of a role in the middle, especially in the death overs. I think and it's too early to do a big role playing a second fiddle kind of a role from him. I think we only saw him in the UP T20. He had a decent Syed Mushtaq Ali. So I think an IPL is a big tournament, and so we can't just keep high expectations right now from him. But I think even CSK will use him carefully initially so that he doesn't get under pressure.
I think it would be great if he could spend some time out in the middle with Dhoni in the back end, or just early on shove him in out number 4 if Ajinkya Rahane is batting, just to allow Ajinkya Rahane to give that experience with the youngster while he's out there, let him to play with that free flow, because there's nothing better than having an experienced player out the other end who's coming out the end of their career, who's playing for the enjoyment of it, and also having a mentor role. There's nothing better than having that mentor just saying, mate, you've got the ability to do this. You've got the ability to do that. Just back yourself to do it. And a couple of shots go away, all of a sudden, bang, he's off. So if they can do that and just get a little bit of belief in him, that batting lineup is going to be dynamite. Are you happy with the bowlers that I've got in there?
Yes, I think those are fantastic bowlers. They have delivered for them last time around. So I think I am very confident that they will deliver this time around as well. And with Shardul Thakur coming back, I think it's a big boost for CSK and even for himself as well, who hasn't been firing in the IPL for a couple of years for other teams. I think with back in CSK, it will be a big boost for him. MS knows how to use him, and he will flourish this time.
I think he will flourish. The only thing I have with Shardul Thakur is his fitness. I think
Yes.
he could look after himself a little bit better. I'm being harsh on him, but if he would have had more opportunity playing for India if he was a little fitter.
Yes, I think he has gained some weight. If we see his body few years back, and now he has gained some weight, and I think that might have some negative impact on him, because we all know fitness is a big thing in cricket. We talk about Prithvi Shaw, how he became so much unfit, and you
Yep.
spoken a lot about Prithvi Shaw.
Yep. Yep.
So I think
I
fitness is a big thing in cricket.
I think yeah, that is a huge thing. Actually, let's just quickly go to Delhi Capitals. Pant.
Oh,
It's great that he's back. It's great that he's back. I'm just worried that a lot of people have too high expectations on him to just do what he did before, just come out and blast away. He looks as though he's fit. I hope he's fit, but do you think he will have the same impact this
I think
IPL as he did?
I will be not having much expectations from him, because I think he came from a terrific accident, and credit to him, he came back stronger. But we have to see that if I am an India selector, I will say him, don't worry about the T20 World Cup. There's a big test series coming in Australia. I want you to be fully match fit for that. Yes, that
I'd
is
be
the big
saying
thing.
getting ready for the T20 World Cup. You're not going to Australia. Actually, it's going to be interesting with in that regard, because I thought Yash Dul, I think it was, who the keeper in the last Test match for you, India.
Dhruv Jurel,
Yeah, I thought he was sensational, and I think he's got a lot of talent.
he is.
I think he and Pant could probably play in the same Test team down here in Australia. I liked his technique. I like what I saw. You have Pant coming in at 6, and the youngster coming in at 7. I reckon that is a perfect combination. Perfect combination coming down. Prithvi Shaw, hope he's lost a little bit of weight. He's got to stand up for the Delhi Capitals, but that's where we're going to leave it. There's plenty of cricket on over the weekend. We're going to be live here on Hog Out on Monday, just recapping quickly over the weekend, but also actually, no, we're going to be live next Thursday, with another guest. And on Monday, I'll just do a quick preview of games coming up through the week and just anything exciting that happened over the weekend. I'll be trying to get more 1-minute videos out as well. Anupam, that was sensational. What are you studying at the moment again?
I'm currently studying BTech Computer Science.
Computer science.
So let's
Rightio.
see if I get a chance in Reliance.
Get a chance out of Lights. Who else is there? Tata Group have got a bit of technology that you can go and work for too, aren't they?
Yes.
Yeah. So there we go. All right. I'll see what I can do. See if we can get you a little bit of work straight away after your degree. But good luck with that, mate. And thanks so much for joining me on Hog Out. It was such a wonderful experience with your questions and learning a bit about you as well. But good luck with everything going your way. Hope the family's well. Hope your fans, CSK fans, are looking forward to tonight's game. And anyone that supports RCB out there as well, good luck to your team. And I've got to say that I've got to be going for KKR and Rajasthan Royals since I've played for both of those teams this year. But tonight, I think CSK are going to win against RCB. Sorry, RCB fans. Just quickly, Anupam, who do you think will win tonight?
CSK, hands down.
All right. Who's going to be the big impact player for the night? Who's going to have the biggest impact?
I feel Shivam Dubey can have the biggest impact with the bat.
Shivam Dubey, I know that you're watching right now in your hotel room. You've been put under notice. You're going to have the biggest impact tonight. Good luck, young man. I'd like to see the big left-handed Tonka hits straight down the ground back over the bowler's head. Good luck with that. Thanks very much for joining me on Hog Out, and we'll see you next week on the other side.